After doing some after doing some sightseeing in Kyoto, we had made our way to the Kamo River for a break.
こういて川を眺める側も悪うないけんど、やっぱり俺は海の方がええにゃ。
Have you ever lived near the ocean, Sakamoto-san?
ああ、土佐の生まれやき。ガキの頃は陸におるより海で泳ぎおった方が長かったぐらいやき。
That can't be true, right? I heard you had siblings. What kind of people are they?
あように両親が亡くなったき。兄貴と姉貴が親代わりみたいなもんやった。三つ上に乙女ねえいう姉貴がおるがよ。この姉貴がすごうて読み書き剣術いろんなもんを教わったがよ。
Alright, that's impressive for an older sister, alright. Wow. Sakamoto-san continued to talk excitedly about his life in the Tosa and about his family. He looked as though he had so much fun telling me the stories. I really got the sense of how strongly he felt connected to his family and to his people. But you've left your domain, right? If you love your hometown that much, doesn't it hurt you not to return? As Sakamoto-san looked at me before responding, I could see the conflict resting in his heart through his eyes. Pardon me. That's none of my business. I'm sorry. He quietly shifted his gaze towards the flow of the river.
土佐のことが嫌いなわけやないけんど、あそこにはつまらんしきたりが山ほどあるき。
Rules? Then he moved his line aside towards the sky, as if counting himself with the rest of the stars.
俺は豪士の生まれながよ。土佐の侍には上司と豪士という二つの身分がある。
Country samurai, lower strata of the samurai class. In the Tosa domain, it points to the descendants of the Chosakabe clan before the Yamauchi clan governed. High-ranking retainer. The high ranking of the samurai class. In the Tosa domain, it points mainly to the retainers of the Yamauchi clan, who became the new governors.
豪士に生まれたら旅は派遣し、雨がザーザー降りよっても下駄を履けん。夏の暑い日でも日傘もさせ。
That's some dumb rules. Why do they do that? Oh.
先祖が関ヶ原の戦いの時、徳川方の敵やったというだけよ。260年も昔の顔を見たこともない先祖がしたことで、この先ずっと見下され続けんといかんがやと。バカバカしろ。
You have a point. I could only nod in response. Of course, if you challenge someone to war and lose, you're going to be punished accordingly, but after 260 years, where's the line drawn? Why continue to let people suffer? Is it really worth it to make descendants of your enemies, people who were years removed from being involved, suffer forever? I think in the past you said something like how the Mori shogunate or Shimazu shogunate could do everything the Tokugawa can. Then what kind of world are you striving for, Sakamoto-san? His smile shaped into a stoic expression, and he gazed into my eyes.
肝心な時に役に立たん侍連中が威張り腐っちゅう世の中を変える。
I gulped. In our government, it was customary for samurai of the shogunate's clan or the Hatamoto to promote and educate from within. There was no way people unfamiliar with the system could easily assume these positions. But Sakamoto-san spoke as if it could be easily done.
おかしいと思わんかい？本人がどれば無能でも、家に生まれただけで出世が約束されるらて。海の向こうのアメリカ地国では、能力があるやつを入れ札で選んで殿様にするらしいぜよ。
Yeah, but our system is just as fucked. I mean, it might have worked back in those days, but now it's just fucked. Vote? Who votes for them?
武士や百姓、町人、全員が一つずつ札を持っちょって、殿様にしたいやつの名前を書くらしい。で、選ばれたやつが集まって、議会一門を作って、話し合いでいろんなことを決めるがよ。
All that he said was so different from Japan. I stood in awe hearing all of the things he said about how the West governed things. Something beyond my imagination. Could you really do such a thing? In Japan?
できる。西洋人じゃろうが、日本人じゃろうが。頭の中身は一緒やち、前に言うたろ。
But Japan currently has all of these predicaments. You know, like the shogunate, imperial court, feudal lords. I think it's good that they work as a group to make decisions and discuss issues, but could something like that really happen here? I don't know. However, Sakamoto-san seemed nonplussed about my question, and he responded with confidence.
できんことはないき。ペルリが来た時と同じことをしてやればええがよ。
Why are you taking a book out of Perry's book? I mean, a page out of Perry's book. What did he mean? Using the black ships? Or using weapons and threats to force people to listen?
幕府やちバカやない。薩長が自分たちと同じか、それ以上の力を持っちゅうと分かれば、無下にはできんの。武器言う側は、戦をするための道具やのうて、相手と交渉するための道具ながよ。俺は別に戦を仕掛けたいわけやない。幕府と将軍言う側をなくいて、みんなが公平な新しい世の中を作りたいだけながよ。
Sakamoto here is like, I want to start a new thing, a new government, something without the shogunate, and possibly also without the emperor as well. I don't know how to respond, and I looked down. Sakamoto-san had claimed that he didn't want to start a war, but the people he's working with absolutely do want to start a war. Depending on how the shogunate responds to his actions, a war could just as easily erupt. But even if what Sakamoto-san aspires for comes into fruition, could we really create a world where there's no such thing as a shogunate or even the samurai? Somewhere in my head, I'm kind of like, I wish we still stuck with swords and stuff. Because I feel like that's less destruction than the weapons we have currently. Swords required a much more masterful skill than a gun, though you do need training with a gun. It's a lot less destructive? Maybe? I don't know. I just don't like how we have to use technology for hell instead of using something much more masterful than a sword. That's how I see the world anyway. Just then,
Sakamoto 様、探しましたよ。そろそろお帰りになってくださらないと。
oh,
あら、あなたは
Kaoru? You're Sakamoto-san's acquaintance?
ええ、同じ土佐出身ですから。
ま、出身が同じっちゅうだけでちょっとしたつながりよ。
ちょっとしたなどと残念です。
Sakamoto-san's dismissal of Kaoru made my stomach turn from the awkwardness of his response. How could they be connected? I suppose it was really none of my business to ask, however.
言うじょっけんど色っぽい関係はないで。なんちゅうか、目付け役みたいなもんよ。
I see. His reassurance made me feel a little more at ease. But I don't know why I had felt that way at all.
しかし、こう言ってみよったら、二人はよう似ちゅうにゃ。いろんな意味で。
Really? Okuta had said something similar before as well. Do Kaoru and I really look alike?
相変わらず坂本さんはお上手ですね。調子がいいことばかりおっしゃるんですから。でも雪村さん、気をつけた方がいいですよ。坂本さんは海の男ですから。あちこちの港にいい人がいると聞きますし、祇園の女性からもとても表になると評判ですもの。
Really?
おいおい、変なこと吹き込みなや。女らって作る暇あるわけないろ。それに、加害の女は世辞を言うのが仕事みたいなもんじゃろ。
表になるのは女性だけじゃないですよね。幕府にあだなす薩摩や長州の方々ともとても好意にしてらっしゃいますし、特に無頼だと評判の長州の高杉さんとは大の仲良しだとか。
Takasugi. Shinsaku Takasugi, a Choshu warrior who belonged to the Imperial Nationalist Party. He established new troops such as the Kiheitai.
新選組にお世話になってらっしゃる雪村さんには耐え難いのではないかしら。
俺が長州のやつらと付き合いいうことら、こいつは百も承知よ。今さら言われても驚かんき。にゃ。
そういえば先日、紀州藩に難癖をつけて大金をせしめたらしいですね。
Kishu domain, one of the three main branches of the Tokugawa clan, the domain where the 14th shogun Iemochi Tokugawa was born.
御三家の紀州徳川家の方々が大層お冠だったと聞きますよ。
One of the three big Tokugawa clans?
ちょっとした船の事故で難癖じゃなくて迷惑料を受け取っただけよ。万国広報にのっとってのことよ。
噂だと土佐藩を通じて幕府に建白書をお出しになったのも坂本様なんですよね。あの慶喜公に将軍をお辞めになってはどうですかなんて進言なさったとか。おかげで幕府の方々から大層睨まれているそうじゃありませんか。肝が太くていらっしゃいますこと。
さすがお目付け役。いろんなことをよう調べちゅう。
If Sakamoto-san wasn't denying everything Kaoru said, then was everything she said true? I never really thought about it until now. Was Sakamoto-san really the illustrious man that I thought he was? Eventually, Kaoru asked a hushed question.
こんな坂本さんのことどう思います？
I think he's a good person deep down. I think he's a good person deep down.
いい人？
His attitude and speech may be gruff, but he always looks out for me, and he does his best when I'm in need, and he cheers me up. He's a bold man, so sometimes he can get off on the wrong foot with people. But deep down, I think he's a good person. As I told her how I felt, Kaoru sighed heavily, and she was annoyed with my response.
まったくもう騙されてますよ、雪村さん。
見る目があるちいうことやろ。どうせやったらええ人やのうてええ男ち言うてほしかったけんど。
それでは雪村さん、私たちはこれで失礼させていただきます。
さよなら。
西本願寺まで送り届けちゃりたいけんど、そうさせてもくれんみたいやね。
Then Sakamoto-san shouted.
おい、どうせ近くで誰かが見張りゆうがやろ。
Oops, it's Yamazaki. In response, a rustle came from behind the embankment.
ほんならまたにゃ。次に会えるがはいつかわからんけんど、元気にしちょれよ。
That was another glitch. What the fuck? I nodded, and suddenly Sakamoto-san had placed his arm around my neck. Oi! What are you doing? Sakamoto-san? I panicked, pushing his arms away from me.
あいつには気をつけ。
I looked in the direction to which his chin was pointing, and I saw Kaoru. And then...
それから、この先、たとえ幕府がどうなっても恨むなよ。
You mean? I wanted to ask him to clarify what he'd meant by that, but Sakamoto-san took Kaoru away, and they left the Kamo River. What did he mean? Does it mean that war will come soon?
雪村君、そろそろ屯所に戻るぞ。雪村君？
Gomen. I seem to have been caught in a daze.
体調でも悪いのか？少し休んでからの方がいいか？
Yeah. I'm fine. Let's head back to the compounds.
そうか。では行くぞ。
My heart was heavy with worry, and the ink lingered for a few moments longer. It wasn't something I could tell others, much less the warriors, though. So I spent the next few days in a deep reflection, and it was difficult to shake my concerns.